Do you know why I know a lot about WCW? Because I'm an old man and I was there. And sure, I was in England, but did I go to that WCW show that came to London in 2000? Yeah, bet your ass I did. And did I shout meat at the then Sean Stasiak to the point he looked over at me with a sad face? Absolutely. I ran wild. Because of all this though, World Championship Wrestling has cemented itself in my heart and isn't going anywhere, probably until the day I die. The war between the promotion and WWE was so intense it was like going through a relationship. Such wounds don't end easily. Given it's been so long since it did go out of business, however, and that history of course is told by the winners, a lot of facts have been skewed over the years, and it's probably time to straighten some of those out. I'm Simon from What Culture. This is 10 things everybody gets wrong about WCW. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to stay notified. Ding, ding, done. Number 10, 1989. 1989 was an amazing year for the WCW/the NWA, in some respects. Probably Ric Flair's best ever 12 months. It was here where he tangled with Ricky Steamboat and Terry Funk and basically rewrote the rulebook on what pro wrestling was. It's also a great window into what everyone loves about the sport of kings. Flair's matches with Steamboat were technical wrestling clinics that ooze style, and the journey the Nature Boy took through all of this was wonderful. Cockshaw heel at the start and a respected contender by the end, before Funk got involved and whipped his ass. However, while it is a year that's constantly mentioned, this was also when the controversial Jim Herd had taken over as executive vice president and told Flair to dress up as Spartacus. He also debuted the tag team known as the Ding Dongs, as well as another called the Dynamic Dudes. So though we sometimes look back and praise 1989, it wasn't exactly flawless from top to bottom. At all. Number 9, The Rise of Nitro. Today, Nitro is often painted as a show that was greenlit by Ted Turner, and that was that. It became massive in 1995 and utterly trounced Raw from that point on. That just wasn't the case. We all know about the 84-week winning streak from 96 to 98, and yeah, that really was a battle, but before this, it was by far a runaway success. Ahead of Eric Bischoff finally pulling away in May, the companies were pretty much equal week to week. WWE even took full control when Diesel and Shawn Michaels went at it for the world title. So it wasn't until May of 1996 where things started to really heat up, even though WWE loves to say otherwise. And let's face it just sounds better the other way. So much more dramatic. Number 8, Bret Hart. There's no two ways about it. WCW screwed up Bret Hart and screwed him up bad. He was never used in the way he should have been, even though if he had been, it could have changed the future for the company, or at least eked it out for a little bit longer. What's not really stated, however, is that it does seem as if Bret wasn't exactly super enthused about his arrival there. After everything that had happened in the WWE, Hart didn't want to be dragged through nonsense such as that again, so he made the decision to just show up, do what he was told, even if it was stupid, and go home. That was not the same approach Bret would have had a year ago. Throw in backstage politics that ran rampant in WCW, and Bret essentially just treaded water until everything ran its course, and that's just devastating. He had so many good years left in him, and yet we never got to witness them properly. Number 7, the raids. If we are to believe the narrative, Eric Bischoff raided WWE for its best talent, and then used those superstars to make WCW the success it was for a time. And sure, that did happen, but the term raid seems a tad unfair when you think about it. While World Championship Wrestling was backed by Turner, whereas WWE was solely a McMahon operation, let's not forget that in the 1980s when Vince was expanding, he too changed the game by hiring performers from other companies and then sticking them to his own bandwagon. It's not like this hadn't happened before. So when Eric Bischoff did the same with Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, for example, it was just more of the same, only the shoe was on the other foot. And let's face it, be it WWE or ECW, if a wrestler wasn't getting paid or was being offered more money elsewhere, isn't that just business as opposed to a raid? And didn't it go the other way when WWE became the ratings leader, such as Chris Jericho's debut? All seems pretty exaggerated to me. Number 6, booking Bill Goldberg. 1999 saw WWE in full control of everything when it comes to the Monday Night Wars. Ratings, merchandise, ticket sales, they were the kings of pro wrestling once more, and the misuse of the NWO and Bill Goldberg had started to harm WCW beyond repair. However, such claims as giving away Goldberg vs Hogan for the world title on free TV being a mistake, or having Kevin Nash end the streak as the sole reasons the company folded, seem a tad much. Seeing Goldberg win his first world championship at the Georgia Dome is one of WCW's finest moments, and Bill could have still been a huge star if he had been booked right following his first loss. But that was the issue. WCW could never follow up on anything. Even the finger poke of doom between Hogan and Nash could have worked if WCW had a plan, but they never did. Things happened for the sake of happening, and a week later you never knew which direction was next. It was madness all round, and boy did it show. Number 5, the youth movement. While a lot of criticisms thrown at Vince Russo are valid, he did at least see the need to try and get everyone on the card and balance that out from start to finish. It didn't matter if you were a main event or an opening act. Russo wanted to make sure you had a place that the whole show constantly felt interesting. It worked for a while in WWE and was utterly crushed in WCW due to backstage politics. 2000's New Blood / Millionaires Club feud was a complete mess, but it was Russo's misguided attempt to push youngsters by force of will alone that backfired. Billy Kidman feuded with Hulk Hogan, for goodness sake. There's only one way that was going to go. Kidman didn't stand a chance. The end result was the younger guys on the roster just feeling like they had no worth in WCW, so started to look at other options, which is exactly what many of them did. And that didn't help World Championship Wrestling at all. Number 4, 2001. 2001 was such a bad year for WCW that you could actually see how the product had been for ages just by tuning into any show the company put on here. It was clear the end was near, and how the promotion kept soldiering on was anyone's guess. Then it changed a bit. Almost as if hitting rock bottom had meant everyone involved realised they had to do something. WCW ran 3 kinda decent pay-per-views that featured an angle with Ric Flair and a gang of heels attempting to rid the company of their many so-called heroes. Dubbed the Magnificent Seven, it allowed those writing WCW to have a focus and even saw Goldberg and Nash agree to do a retirement storyline. It was too late by this point as the damage had been done, but still, the entire year wasn't a bust, it was just everything before that and then some. Number 3, the women. While WWE are keen to talk about Sunny and Sable as a beacon to how women helped revolutionise the industry in the late 90s, it was actually WCW in 1997 with the Nitro Girls who got in there first. As innovative then as it is dated now, the dance troupe were employed effectively as cheerleaders to keep audience hype during commercials and lend glitz to the broadcast. While Sunny shone as a manager in 96 and Sable drew main event level reactions between 98 and 99, the very notion of employing women to perform beyond the realms of the traditional valet wrestler role was unheard of before Eric Bischoff and Kimberly Page collaborated in creating the group. Competition winner Stacy Keibler joined the gang in 1999 and went on to have one of the most successful careers of all active females at the time, and Rebecca Kersey and Sharmell Sullivan would go on to marry Shawn Michaels and Booker T respectively. So think of all of that. Number 2, David Arquette. David Arquette was a stupid decision by WCW, and I think today everyone realises that. However, to say putting the title on him utterly destroyed the legacy of that title, that's just not true. It would have been pummeled by that point. Etched through so many twists, turns and tournaments, it was thrown around like garbage and had long lost the power it once had. It's not like Arquette wanted this to happen either. He spoke up and said it was a bad idea, but those in control thought the mainstream attention it would garner was worth it. It wasn't. It was a gamble that could have worked as well given the obsession with celebrity in the late 90s. From Dennis Rodman to Mike Tyson, everyone wanted a piece of the action. This was just the next extension. It was dumb, of course, but WCW could have saved this. Instead, it ran it into the ground. Number 1, the old guard. Eventually, this would become an issue for WCW, but WWE's constant jabs that its competition was full of old dudes, right down to those billionaire Ted skits in January 96, were misguided at the time. Hogan, Savage and all those guys still had years left on the clock as they showed down south. That's why the company was able to find the success it did. It's also why the increased digs at them were well wide of the mark, as most found themselves reborn after they made the move, recognisable faces just in a new setting. The same logic applied to virtually every ex-WWE star that donned black and white over the next 12 months with the NWO. As part of Hogan's heel unit, they were both familiar and brand new talent. WCW was far from the old folks' home or just getting by because they were stealing stars. What was old was very, very new again.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe below, and if you're looking for more content like this, then try a few things that are floating about around my ears. It might be fun. I can't promise it though, but it might be.